Hi, my name is Kelsey Harris, and I'm going to walk us through mobile learning, specifically with Socrative. Okay, so the purpose of Socrative is to use this mobile learning tool. It provides engagement and it's an alternative to traditional quizzes. So in other words, it provides students with an opportunity to see different types of quizzes. So they'll be able to access it actually on their phone rather than taking a paper-based quiz. It also promotes more engagement for the students because they're actually able to use their own resources, their own tools, instead of just the traditional quizzes that we usually give as teachers. And it also can put these quizzes into games, such as Space Race, which I will dive more into in just a second. Okay, so why Socrative? So Socrative is great to use because of the experience. Students get to use technology to learn, and that's always an exciting thing for students to do. Also, education. Teachers can gauge student comprehension, and they're able to see how well the students are progressing through the task that they are learning at that time. Skills. Students can pair up and use this quiz as a game, so that can help promote different types of skills that they are using. They're able to collaborate and communicate together, which are some of the 4 C's. A fourth benefit of Socrative is that it can help teachers stay organized. Teachers are able to stay organized because they're able to keep track of the students' progress really easily. So they can see what students are performing well in certain tasks and what students may need some extra help through it all. So this is one page that shows up on Socrative. In just a little, I'll dive more into what the actual Socrative page looks like. But I wanted to point this out first. So there's 3 different options that a teacher can use when deciding to work with Socrative. So a teacher can create a quiz for the students. Maybe they had just learned material and now the teacher wants to quiz them and grade them on this. They're able to do this with this option of a quiz. If the teacher wants something that's more collaborative and engaging for students, maybe they're reviewing for a big test, the teacher can use this. It's called the Space Race. It's a fun game where students team up together and they compete against one another and they can see their progress on the screen. So it's really fun and engaging for the students. A teacher could also create an exit ticket. This could be used when students are leaving the classroom. They just have to log onto their phone and type in one thing to answer this question before they're able to leave. So mobile learning, specifically Socrative, really improves learning overall. So I'm going to focus a little bit on the 4 C's and the areas of the 4 C's that Socrative really focuses on. Socrative focuses on collaboration. Collaboration allows students to work together and build their knowledge together. So when students are collaborating together, they might be able to learn even more from their peers than what they're just learning from just listening to their teacher alone. Collaboration is a great resource to use in a classroom as it promotes more learning and growth between students. Collaboration is also used in Socrative because it allows students to work together, specifically in the Space Race portion of Socrative. Communication is also very relevant in Socrative. Communication is important because it allows students to communicate together and they're able to build on their communication skills. All students, all people need to work on communication skills. So being able to work on this skill at someone as young as an elementary age kid is a great skill and concept to practice. This is used in Socrative in the way where students are able to work together to communicate together or communicate with the teacher or just communicate as a whole that they are learning this material. 2 other 4 C's. We have creativity and critical thinking. Creativity encourages students to expand past their horizons. They think outside of the box. They're able to dig deeper into things that they're learning about. Creativity really isn't used in Socrative, but I did want to include this as one of the 4 C's as well. And then we have critical thinking. Critical thinking allows students to think more in depth about material. Critical thinking, again, isn't really used that much in Socrative, although if a teacher wanted to implement critical thinking, they could do so by developing a type of quiz that incorporates a lot of critical thinking, of course. So the benefits of mobile learning. Mobile learning provides students with the option of flexibility. So as students are learning all of this types of material, they're able to choose how they're going to learn it. It provides more accessibility for the students in this area. In other words, if a student is at home, they wouldn't necessarily have to log onto a computer to get their material. They can just get on their phone. Maybe a student has to work on an assignment or an activity or lesson and they're not home or near a computer, but they have their phone. These days, so many people have their phones, so it's so easy to incorporate mobile learning because it allows students to work on material even when they're not in the classroom or by a computer all the time. So again, mobile learning is flexible and accessible. Students often do not sign into their designated LMSs, so like Canvas or Blackboard or Classroom, as much as they probably should. So incorporating mobile learning will make it a little bit easier for students to be able to access their information. They can access this material anywhere that they are. So it's a lot easier for students to use this material. So when you're using a tool that is accessible and flexible for all, it just makes learning a lot easier because students now realize that they can use it on their own time and their own ability. So now I'm going to walk us through a little bit of Socrative itself. So this is the home page that the teacher will see when logging on to Socrative. Here you see we have the quiz option, we have the space race, we have an exit ticket, and then down here, if you just want to ask one quick question, you can do so through multiple choice question, true or false, or short answer. These can be incorporated into a lesson. Maybe a teacher is teaching something and then all of a sudden they're like, okay, quick question. All the kids are able to take out their phones and answer this question before they continue and move on. So here are the examples for the quizzes that I've created. So these are just really quick quizzes that I worked through. This one specifically I was working on a little harder because main idea is something that I teach to my students, and it's actually a topic that a lot of my students struggle with. So I thought it'd be fun to work on creating a quiz to help with that. If you see right down here, I even have the standard that it goes with. So I really liked that option for Socrative because I know a lot of schools and school districts require teachers to incorporate and state what standard they are teaching, not just the topic, but the actual standard itself. So being able to incorporate that makes it a lot easier. So after you choose the quiz that you want, you can then choose the delivery method. So it could be instant feedback. It could be open navigation. So open navigation, students get to choose when they're going through this. This is where a lot of the flexibility comes into play. It could be teacher paced, which means that the teacher is then controlling everything. And then this would be more so in a traditional classroom setting, of course, where the teacher's like, okay, we are now on this question. Everyone has to work through it, and then they're moving on to the next one. So you choose what option you want here, and then you move on to the next portion. So I'll click Open Feedback, and then I'm going to click Start. So after I hit Start, this is the page that it takes the teacher to. So all the students will be logging on with this code, or the teacher can have them joined through Google Classroom, which I think is a great option for teachers that do already use Google Classroom because they can easily integrate all their students. So the teacher will be able to see all the students. I only have one student that I added right here, and that's just because it's summer, so I don't have an actual classroom right now. But all my students would show up here, and it'd show their progress, so I'd be able to see their answers, and I'd be able to see their names. Of course, I didn't add an actual name. I just added the number 1 for one student. So I would be able to monitor the entire thing, which just makes this a lot easier for all teachers. So overall, Socrative is a great tool to use for teachers, and it helps students learn even more.